as per directions also. They take a beating. They will work loose if you do not thread lock them. And I just dropped mine. There we got it. Actually pull off. Let's try that again. The thread lock actually pulled it right off of the. Okay. There's a flat spot on the pinion end coming out. That's where the grub screw needs to make contact. So screw that in there. Crank it tight. And you've got the drive shaft attached to the rear. Do the same thing for the front. Find your flat spot on the pinion shaft. Grub screw. Thread lock it. Again, drive shaft goes on female end. Make sure you're on that flat spot. Tighten the grub screw down. Oops, that back. Drive shafts on the front assembly. Okay, I'm going to set those aside a minute here. We just did basically steps 14, 15, and 16. We're going to flip over page 15 and start at step number 17. We're going to basically build the lower links, install those and the shocks onto both axle housings. So for now, we'll take our axle assemblies or housings and set those off to the side here. We're going to take out of the bag, we have 4 6 by 91 millimeter long lower links, straight links. Anodized gray. Then you're going to want 8 of the threaded grub screws or threaded shafts. There's 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we need to go over to parts trees. And we need 80030. We need 80032 for parts tree. I think we may have another. Okay, yep, 80032. Part number 1, part number 1. Where's the other 80032? We may have a mistake in the book here. I think we do. We only have the 2 left on that one parts tree, meaning that basically it's not the correct reference in the book. What you're going to need to do, this number here, 80032, is wrong. You should be using 80005. The reason being that parts tree 80032 only has 2 remaining ball ends on it, and those are actually the ones that were used on the shocks. They are pretty much the same, but we're done with this. There isn't enough here anyways, so we're going to change that reference. You're going to see it on page 15, step number 7. They're going to ask for parts tree 80032. Take that and use 8005 and use part number 1. that will give you enough. That's basically for that end and the other end. They're the straight shots, so you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go to the other same parts tree number, 7 and 8. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of those, 8 of the grub screws. Okay, you'll also need 8 of the ball sockets. So take 1, 2 off of that one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we can go ahead and make these lower links. Again, the easiest way to do it, thread the shafts into the ball sockets. Go about halfway. So you got half in the plastic, half in, the other half will go into the aluminum. Once you got that threaded in, then you can take, snap in the ball like so, and then that'll screw in just like that. Okay, I'm going to go and put all 4 of these together and we'll come right back. Okay, we've got all 4 links done. Now the next step is to actually assemble the links and shocks onto the axle assemblies. So basically what you need to do is grab 2 links. Now if you notice, if you look at the manual and remember that the balls actually have a flange side and then they have one side that doesn't have the flange on it, pay attention in the manual to where that flange goes. Where the link rod actually hooks back up to the belly pan, that flange goes on the outside. Where it hooks up to the axle, it goes to the inside. So basically you want to make sure you've got those positioned right. So your ball ends should have a flange on the inside on one side, the outside the other side. Pretty simple. Grab that, grab a shock. Reservoirs face forward. Go into your parts, grab one of your long 3x25mm screws and a lock nut. Now there's actually 4 of these in here. See, there's actually a couple shorter ones. There's one shorter one. Don't use that one. Make sure you use the 4 long ones for doing these. Okay. Easy as pie. Start your bolt. Shock. Put the flange outside. Shock goes in first. Then your link, flange to the inside. Push that all the way through. Take your lock nut. And put that on. Now it's hard to get, you can't get anything in there. You can't get a wrench. You get a wrench, but you can't get a socket. I usually just grab these with a pair of needle nose pliers. It's a lock nut, so you don't have to crank it tight. Just pull the nut up so that both your nut and bolt head are fairly snug up to the plastic ears on the axle housing. You don't want to crush these and pinch everything in here. You don't. It puts extra stress. You'll end up cracking the ears. Leave them so that you can actually spin the bolt. The lock nut will hold it on there. It's not going anywhere. Do that with the other side. Grab your shock, reservoir forward, flange to the outside.